Hello and welcome to the Gooner Talk, back again with you guys for another episode of our Arsenal preview show, a show in which we look ahead to the next Arsenal fixture with the help of our members from the Discord server. Thank you so much for tuning in and always making sure that you make this part of your daily routines, not just your morning routines, because we're doing plenty more shows than just the normal 8 a.m.s. Now, I do have a small announcement to make on the channel. For the next 4 weeks, the guys over at Football Prizes have been very kind as to sponsor the channel, and so therefore we'll be helping support them and hopefully get you guys emboldened with some Arsenal memorabilia and some fantastic prizes throughout the process. So let me tell you about the prize for this week, finishing on Tuesday. It's a pretty darn good one, a signed Gabriel Jesus shirt available through the link in today's video description. You can pick up tickets for just £2.95. There are 99 tickets in total, so you have a 1 in 99 chance or more, because you can buy, of course, more than just the one ticket. However, I do have to tell you that of the 99 tickets, already 61 have been sold. It's a very, very popular prize. So if you want to get hold or get your best chance possible of getting hold of this shirt, make sure you click the link in the description and head over to Football Prizes. More shirts and prizes coming throughout the next 4 weeks. And I look forward to seeing, of course, plenty more of you hopefully winning these prizes. Now, speaking of people who are very good at winning prizes, I've got to introduce you to some of our guests today. First of all, we're joined by the Football Prizes king himself. It's Jared. How you doing, mate? It's opportunistic that we launch our sponsorship on the same day that you're coming on the pods. It's it's a match made in heaven.
Yeah, you couldn't get a better segue into the show. But yeah, if you want to win some stuff, that's where that right behind me over my shoulder came from. So anybody can win it. And I got that for like $5.
Indeed. There you go. A signed Dennis Bergkamp classic shirt that Jared was able to win. Yeah, we didn't plan this. Jared just happened to be on. He's the perfect kind of sponsor guest for today. But how you doing, mate? You good? You are? So you're wearing a very nice third kit. I am struggling to get mine through the post at the moment.
Yeah, I love it. I didn't think it'd be the case, but this might be my favorite of the three this year. The pink one's really
blasphemy.
Nice.
What you're doing? The black shirt is too
I know, I know your affinity for the black shirts, but I'm telling you, it's quality, and I get pretty lucky. Adidas is headquartered in Indianapolis. It's like a 3-hour drive from here, so if I order from them, it's usually here the next day. So I got pretty lucky on that end.
Do you get players on the back of the shirt? Is that what you do or not?
I don't. I
Only
thought
when
about it this
prizes.
year. Yeah. No names on the back. So maybe next year. I thought about Saka, ended up not pulling the trigger.
Fair enough. Yeah, I think one of the big delays here in the UK is that I've got the Arsenal font on the back of mine for Gabriel Jesus. So, yeah, speaking of which, getting that shirt in already. So, good segue. Let's also bring in, it's been a little bit of a while, but he's back. It's Pablo. How you doing, Pablo? How's Monza? Are you enjoying your loan out there?
Yeah, you know me, Tom. Always like to talk about Monza. It's what the show's about. No, it's good to be back, Tom, and I'm so looking forward to the game tomorrow. I can't wait.
Absolutely. Pablo is one of our long-standing members of the channel and regular Discord contributor, and gets absolute pelters for having his name pretty much like Pablo Mari's. But yeah, it's that's the last one you'll get today.
I've got a double-barreled name, and this is no lie as well. I've actually got
a Gabriel?
No, it's Jesus. Jesus.
Oh, of course. Jesus. Yes, of course, with the Brazilian pronunciation as well. Brilliant. Lovely stuff. Where does that go? Where does the Jesus go in the name? In the middle. Oh, okay. You were on mute, but I think I was trying to lip read what you were saying whilst you're on mute. But Pablo Jesus Marie is his name. Brilliant stuff indeed. And lastly, a man whose middle name is not Gabriel. It's Alex Jones. How you doing, Alex? You good, Joel?
Yeah, I'm not too bad, thank you. Hello, chat. Hello, everyone. Hope you're all enjoying the sweltering heat if you're in the UK, and I'd imagine a lot of other places. But yeah,
we're not is the answer. We're not enjoying it at all. It's pretty darn horrible, is what it is, and it's only going to get warmer, upwards of 33 degrees, I think, for the next 2 days here in the UK, which contextually for us is a joke, quite frankly. But we move, and the boys are going to be playing in some ridiculous heat tomorrow, and of course we'll have to adapt to that. But I think as we move to talk about the game tomorrow, there's only one thing on the people's minds, and that is the narrative of the game as Arsenal play Leicester. Jared, how interesting will it be to see Yuri Tielemans finally play at the Emirates, but not necessarily in an Arsenal shirt?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if he does play. It'll maybe give us some insight into a potential move, but it's a difficult one if you're him, because all the rumors are out there. There's potential for you to come to Arsenal, and I'm not saying he wouldn't go out there and give his 100% at all times. I think he would, but it's got to play on your psyche a little bit that this is a team you're going to. You want to play Champions League football. You know how tight those races get and how important all the points are for Arsenal. So it'll probably be a difficult one for him if we see him out there. If we don't, I think that'll give us a pretty good hint that there may be something in the works sooner rather than later.
Yeah, indeed. Pablo, there's also, of course, the side thing of going, do we play the same team? It's been going so well recently, but we've got a lot of players coming back from injury. Smith Rowe, Tomiyasu, and of course, new signing Fabio Vieira are all going to be available. Do you think Arteta will be tempted in any way to make a couple of changes?
To be honest with you, I don't think so, personally. It's a compliment to him, actually, the fact that we've got Tommy back, we've got Teeny back, and we don't have to play them. We can actually allow them to bed themselves back into the team slowly, where previously we've rushed people back, they end up getting injury, and then they become injury prone, like everybody says. But that's our own fault, really, where now you can actually see that things have changed, and we don't have to rush them back at all. So I'd go with the same team.
Alex, Leicester are a side that have made, I don't think, any signings at all so far this summer. Is there any excuse not to pick up 3 points in this game?
I don't think so. I mean, I don't think we should be complacent whatsoever, because even though they haven't made any signings, they've still got players of real quality in their side. But no, I think we should be winning, especially at home. First home game of the season. We want to make a bit of a statement after obviously winning the game against Palace. But I think Leicester are, in my opinion anyway, have a little bit more quality than Palace do. So we just need to be careful.
Interesting. Jared, do you agree? Do you think this is a trickier fixture to navigate? Are they a better side than Palace?
I think they've got a couple pieces of maybe better individual talent, but I don't think overall they're a better team. So yes and no. I guess I'll sit on the fence on that one a little bit.
And you got the Palace Emirates kind of dilemma as well. Of course, being at home is going to be big for us.
That's the big one. Palace gives us a lot of problems. The away fixture to them was a tough one to start the year, and us not only being at home, but our first home game, I'm sure the crowd's going to be crazy. They'll be ready to see the guys who are on a good run of wins. So I look at this one as maybe a little bit easier than Palace, but it's the Premier League. There's no guaranteed points anywhere, so should be a good one.
Indeed, fingers crossed that it is. There's obviously going to be some big performances, Pablo. We saw William Saliba absolutely boss things at Selhurst Park. Mikel Arteta was asked about him in his press conference ahead of the game, and kind of talked about how humble, how grounded and objective he's been, about how committed he seems to be, talking about how he wants to make Arsenal better. Have you been surprised with how kind of quickly he's assimilated into the side, or do you think we all made too much of the whole business of it?
He had a blinding game. I'll be honest. Every time he's played for us so far, pre-season and Crystal Palace, it's actually been really, really good. I know Jesus has been. Oh, sorry, battery. I know Jesus has been like one of the main players, sort of that everybody's talking about. But for me, he's made such a difference in that team. But at the same time, he's young. We don't want to put too much pressure on him. We tend to do this, especially here in England. We build people up. And with the Arsenal fans the way they are, one mistake away from probably them being probably the worst person in the world. So we just need to stay grounded with him. I want him to have a really good game and have a good season, but I'm not building my hopes up with him. I'm just going to ride it out, really, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I agree. I'm enjoying it. I'm loving seeing him play. It's been a long time coming. 3 seasons have gone by since we first bought in 2019 to get all that way back to when we actually got him in. But you can only say that those loan moves have done him brilliantly well, and the development level that's gone through in those 3 loans and getting him regular football has certainly contributed to seeing the player that we have on our hands now. It's now about hopefully getting him tied down to a brand new deal. Interestingly, Alex, one of the things we're going to talk about a lot when we come to our lineups as well is how much strength in depth we have, and actually some first team players are going to be left out of the squads, and we're going to have a talk about that, of course, when we go through our individual teams. But is this a kind of the evidence around the process of getting rid of those surplus talents that weren't good enough and bringing in players that were of such a benefit to us. What does it tell you about kind of the squad and the management behind the squad building to see such a strong squad where senior players are going to have to be left at home?
I think people often talk about the process and whether there really was one, which is one of the common things I see around. But to be honest, you see a lot of teams going through rebuilds across every league, and one thing that's clear is we've got an outline of the type of player that we want in a mental sense, in a physical sense, but also just in a sense of the type of player that they are, and I don't see where there hasn't been a plan. I think things happen during the season. I don't think many people expected Aubameyang to end up leaving, but things change, as I think Edu said in the in the why can't I think of the name? Documentary, All or Nothing. Yeah. There we go.
For some people, it's been tried to be forgotten. To be fair,
yeah, and I think that people are entitled to their opinion, obviously, but my opinion is always that as long as I can see that we're making some form of progress, then I don't see any problem with it. And I think the players that we've signed have shown that we're wanting to make progress. So
absolutely. Lovely stuff. Let's go on to our lineups. I think that's probably a good place to move forward. Let's bring in Pablo back into the conversation as well. Let's go to Jared's team. Now, we try to kind of change things up a little bit for those that are new to the preview show for this series. We not only have our first 11, our desired 11 that we would like to see, of course, but we also have a prediction for our 5-star performer. Jared, you've gone for Martin Ødegaard alongside the same team that played against Crystal Palace. I'll come onto the bench in a second, but why did you go for Ødegaard and a continuation of what we've seen so far as well?
Well, as far as the lineup, preseason is preseason. I understand that, but the team's won 6 or 7 games in a row with relatively the same lineup. This early in the season, we're not in a spot where we really need rotation. I don't see any reason to change that. You get a win against Leicester, and we've got 6 points in 2 weeks going into Bournemouth and Fulham, and we're kind of in a good spot to get a good momentum early in the year. As far as why I chose Ødegaard, looking back to last season when we played Leicester at home, he absolutely dictated that game for the full 90 minutes. He was the standout player, and it just seemed the way they set up defensively, the area where there's a little bit of a gap in their midfield is the exact same area that Ødegaard likes to receive the ball and turn and run at people. So it's just kind of a perfect mix for him to have a big game, and he did the last time at the Emirates, and I expect him to kind of carry that forward and have another good one tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, on the bench though, when we come to that conversation, you've left out Mohamed El Neni. It is not there, of course. Ainsley Maitland-Niles, Marquinhos also not there either. But it's interesting that we're having to leave out some key members like Rob Holding. You would never have thought would be off the bench. Even with Saliba coming in, it's interesting that he's not for some people. You've gone with him, but Mohamed El Neni is not there. Why did you choose him?
I'm pretty sure I had El Neni rather than Pepe.
Great.
Maybe I sent it to you incorrectly, but
no, it's definitely my fault. Don't be polite. It's all me. We're going to change that now. Go for it.
No, looking back, I mean, it looks like, the previous games we've had 3 defenders, a couple of midfielders, 3 attackers. I think he'll probably stick with that same sort of structure in the bench. It's just a matter of who those players are. The big question for me is whether or not Vieira and ESR are both healthy and available. If they are.
Why Pepe? Why have you left Pepe out? That's big. £72 million record signing, not on the bench.
Well, I mean, I'm just looking at this year. Who do we need to get integrated into the team, and who are we actually going to be using in games that are important? And I think if you look at Smith Rowe, Vieira, Pepe, one of those 3 has to get left out. I think it's going to be him because as the year moves forward, those guys are going to be more and more important. Early in the year, I think they'll be good to come in and just, get a 10-minute run out just to get their legs underneath them. But as we get further into the Premier League season, hopefully advancing in Europe, I think Pablo Vieira is going to be a guy who we rely on a little bit more heavily than certainly we want to with Pepe. As realistically, I think the team would have liked to see him out by the end of the month. That's probably held off with Reece Nelson's injury, but just in general, I think you want the players that you want to have in those important games down the line get integrated as soon as possible. So if they're healthy, I think Smith Rowe and Vieira both get on the bench just to give us a kind of a Tierney-like showing from last week, get a quick 10, 15 at the end, and just kind of gauge their fitness level from there.
Alex, I mean, I'm hoping I've now got your bench right. I'm going to run through it. Turner, Tomiyasu, Tierney, Nenny, Lokonga, Smith Rowe, Vieira, Pepe, and Nketiah. Is that right? Or have I made another mistake? I'm hoping that's correct. Alex, you're on mute.
Oops. Yeah. So, yeah, that's correct. Yeah. No, you're all good.
You've changed the system. Tell me your reason.
Oh well, no. This is how I
know
see
it's the same team, but you've changed the shape. Or explain the shape, because you think it's not as simple as a 4-3-3.
No, well, this is how I think we actually play. So obviously, I think I'll take away from one thing, which is the inverted fullbacks. Obviously, come in to make that sort of free in the middle, but for the majority of the time, I definitely saw us playing with the back three of Gabriel, Saliba, White. I saw Xhaka and Partey mixing it up. I saw Xhaka and Partey mixing up who was sitting, who was going forward. Zinchenko was occupying the left side. I don't want to say he was a winger because obviously he had times where he's come inside, but and then I think they're all interchangeable, and I think that's one thing that was made very clear in the documentary. For instance, not that I want to make this about the documentary, but the front five, as it is, ended up being those players. You know, the players who are there, and I think that that's our best bet, is having the stability and the pace at the back, which Gabriel, Saliba, and White provide. Which means that Xhaka and Partey are a bit more free in what they can do.
Yeah, I mean, I probably unfairly said that you've changed the system because you're spot on. You know, this is how we attack. You know, Martinelli does join Jesus. Xhaka is very much the wide option for us on the right-hand side. Zinchenko does push forwards. Odegaard does come more central when he attacks. So, you know, it probably was unfair. And yeah, the back three, that is how we kind of set up. I saw a video by, I think it was Tifo, talking about how kind of White and Zinchenko both flank Partey. But I don't necessarily agree it's as stringent as that. I think White is a lot more reserved than Zinchenko. I know that White did push forwards on a number of occasions to support Xhaka, but I still do think that Zinchenko is a lot more freer than what White is, and this is generally how we set up when we're in the most attacking phase. You've left Rob Holding out of the team. Talk me through that.
That's a good shout. Well, I say that.
Just the realization. Oh no.
I mean, I say, to be honest, I know Tomiyasu and Tierney aren't fit necessarily, but I think that Tomiyasu and Tierney are perfectly capable of playing in that, either Tierney on the left centre back / wide centre back type role, and Tomiyasu's played in that for a while. He played in the mixture, but he was mainly a centre half for the majority of games, I think, in a back three. I'm honestly not a big fan of Holding, but I didn't mean to bring him off the bench. I just forgot about him. However, I am.
Who would you have taken out then if you had to put Holding in?
Yeah, that's the difficulty.
It's tough, you know.
Yeah. I don't think I'd take Pepe out, to be honest.
No, he's telling you you're wrong there, Jared.
It's not that I don't. I see Jared's point completely about keeping people in who are more likely to play games for the important games throughout the season. But Pepe is, I want to loosely say, the most proven member out of Nketiah and Vieira. I'd say Pepe is more proven to me in the Premier League than they are. How successful he's been is up for debate. But yeah,
I know. I think that's fair. You went for Jesus as well as your 5-star player. You think he's going to get his first goal of the Premier League season?
I think he was so close in the Palace game. You know, some of his link up play, his quick feet, which is not something I necessarily. Not that I didn't associate with him, but I don't think I'd seen it as much with Man City, because they are a lot more focused on one-touch passing. Off we go. Like there is individuality 100% within the squad, but when you've got players like De Bruyne and people like that, and Bernardo Silva, you know, it's not as important. The ball moves quicker than you at the end of the day. So
Indeed, it does. Pablo, talk us through this selection. You've also gone for Jesus as your 5-star kind of man as well, but you've left out Mohamed El Neni from your bench selection.
Yeah, I have. I mean, to be honest with you, I kind of feel bad for it because I do like him. He's a nice guy. And with El Neni, you know you're going to get a 7 out of 10 with him, regardless who you're playing against or whatever. But I just think I'm looking more into the future. Yeah. The way this team is young, sort of, I don't know. I'm in love with Arsenal. I've always loved Arsenal anyway, but I'm just so excited to go and watch us tomorrow. And I haven't been this excited for ages. And that's because of the young, fresh team players that are coming through. And Lokonga is one of them. I know he's got a bit of a hard time last season. I think it was a bit unfair on him because he got left out, hung out to dry. But I really want to see him progress and do well. And El Neni, yeah, he'll come on cup games, European games, whatever. But for me, a little bit like Jared said, we work on the players that are going to play in the bigger games and are going to show us progression throughout the season. And I think Lokonga over El Neni for me on this game anyway.
Jesus?
For sure. Jesus, I hope he gets his goal. I hope he gets his goal at the Emirates tomorrow. Obviously Alex said, he was so close against Palace. Pre-season has been on fire. I don't know. I think I'll put it out there now so everybody is listening. 2 goals from him tomorrow, minimum. That's what I'm expecting. That is minimum.
He's getting told off. I feel like if he doesn't at this stage.
No. If he doesn't, he's out the door, mate. But he's for sure. I honestly and truly think tomorrow, home crowd, fans behind him, team's going to come out buzzing, and I reckon he'll get 2 goals tomorrow. I'm that confident with him.
Lovely stuff. I really, really hope you're right, mate. I really do. I've gone for, again, unchanged team, same as everybody else. The reason why I've gone for Zinchenko is I just think that with Tierney kind of in the squads and on the bench now and getting back to full fitness, I think there's a pressure around him to really perform and show Arteta why he needs to stay in the team. So I think there's going to be an expectation, certainly a reaction from Zinchenko's performance. He did really well in the game against Sevilla at home. I thought he was really good on that left-hand side and really aided in kind of our build-up play and attack, and maybe went a little bit understated with how good that performance was. I think we might see a similar one against Leicester and how good he is in the inverted fullback position. In terms of the bench, I've left out Rob Holding. If Tomiyasu and Tierney are fully fit, which, they're not 100%, but they're certainly getting there, I think both of them are enough for us to cover that defensive area of the team, especially with Tierney and Tomiyasu being able to play right-sided centre-back and right-back and left-back, respectively. So I think they cover that. El Neni and Lokonga offer different things. Lokonga's really impressed Mikel Arteta this pre-season because of what he's offered in more of an advanced centre midfield role. He's quite good to replace Xhaka with if you wanted to go, say, into the final third in the last 20 minutes or so with something more explorative. I think Lokonga would be good for that. If you want to be more reserved, I think El Neni can give you kind of that assuredness and calmness in the midfield that maybe Lokonga doesn't necessarily bring. And then we've got all the attacking options. I mean, I remember days at Arsenal where we'd be looking at the bench and going, we can't really change much up top. It's not, we can bring in Nketiah on for Lacazette. It's a like-for-like change, doesn't change too much. We can bring on Pepe for Saka. Does it change too much? I mean, the only thing that changes is a drop in quality, in my opinion, between the two. But I think now with the options of Nketiah, who's taken his game up a level, Pepe, who clearly has got a different mindset about his Arsenal career at the moment. He says he wants to stay. And I think also with ESR and Fabio Vieira, we've got such versatility and variation and unpredictability about the changes we can make with the 5 subs that can be made. It's going to be really intriguing to how the game changes when Arsenal make their subs. And I do expect kind of more subs to be made tomorrow with the heat. There was a question in the chat box. Paul, I think it was, said, will the subs get more game time because of the weather being 35 degrees? I think you can expect a lot more subs than we saw at Crystal Palace because that was obviously an evening game. The temperature was a lot lower. And Arteta wanted to kind of see how that team was going to progress. But I think, we can absolutely expect more from in terms of changes. Let's go to predictions. Jared, we'll come to you first for a scoreline and scorers. What are you going for?
I'm going to say 3-0 to the Arsenal. I like Pablo said, I like a brace for Jesus in his home opener. And then I think Martinelli may get his second too. So good start to the season for him. But those would be my 2 and a 3-0 win.
Indeed. Pablo.
I'm going to go 3-0 as well. I know it sounds really boring copying Jared there, but 3-0, a brace from Jesus, and guess who get the third goal? Martinelli.
I thought you were saying Pablo Marie.
No, to be honest with you, Martinelli was sort of 50-50 with Jesus for my star man. I was really sort of tossing and turning between the two. I think he's going to have a blinding season this season. So, yeah, 3-0.
It's not what I would describe as a breakout year because, Martinelli is certainly broken out in the first team, but I think it's a coming of age kind of season for Gabby Martinelli this year, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do. Alex?
Just for the sort of sake of being different, I suppose, I'm just going to go for 4-0. I was genuinely going to say 3-0, but then both of the guys said it, so I'll go for 4. We'll go for Jesus with a brace and Gab Martinelli with a brace, and like you guys have said, I think Martinelli will have a really good season, and I think he's benefiting from being a bit more central at times, to be honest, from what I've seen in pre-season anyway.
I'm going for 3-0 as well. So I know that's boring, but it's what I said on the lounge on Monday, so I've got to stick with it. 3-0. Jesus to get 1, Martinelli with 1, and Saka with 1. 1 for each of the front 3. Jared, Daniel Roberts says, if Jesus is suitable captain for FPL, do you think he's the one to pick for your captain this week?
In general, I think he's a suitable captain. This week, I'm not sure I would take him over Salah at home or the obvious of Haaland playing at home against Bournemouth, I think is the one everybody's going to be on. So I've got Jesus in my team, but I'd be more likely to captain him probably next week or the following week than I would this one.
Yeah, I'm just looking at this. Haaland against Bournemouth at home is a big one. Jesus
it's hard to pass on that one.
Yeah, it's hard, isn't it? Salah as well. I mean, if I'd have captained Haaland, I think I might have been top of the TGT league if I'd have captained Haaland, but I did captain Salah. I might be wrong on that, but it was pretty close. I ended on 84 points from a possible, I think I would have got 88 if I'd have captained Haaland. But yeah, it's going to be intriguing what happens. Zinchenko's a big pick, clean sheet, and someone who gets forward, got the assist as well against Crystal Palace. Maybe we'll have to include this little FPL chat at the end of our previews from now on going forwards. Let's see what you guys in the chat box have said regarding predictions. Dan Roberts says 3-0 Arsenal. Gabby. Getting on the score sheet. PS Midi says 2-1. Igbo going for a 3-0 win. Matt says a 3-0 with Big Willie S to get the first goal. Paul says 3-1 Arsenal, but Vardy always scores against us, so he's going to get one. Lynn says 3-1 Arsenal. Jesus, Saka, and Martinelli. A penalty for Jesus, I think that is there. Zamir going for 5-1 with a Gabby hat-trick and Jesus Salib. Hold on, Gabby times 3. I'm trying to work out what that means because he's put Jesus as well. So I'm going to assume that's 3 goals for Gabby Martinelli and Jesus and Saliba as additional scorers. Daz going for a 5-0 Arsenal win. Imperator going for a 4-1 Leicester win from the looks of that scoreline. Jason says 3-1 Vardy seems to score against us all the time. Not sure if this is even a stat, but it feels like it. He has a very good record of scoring against Arsenal, an annoyingly good one because there was all the rumour about that 20 million bid that got turned down, of course, by him, not by Leicester. So, yes, that's a frustration. Harvey says 4-1 Arsenal. Wadell going for a 2-1 Arsenal victory, a little bit more conservative. And Lakeville going for a 4-0 win as well. Stephen says 2-0, tougher than people think. Yeah, there is a bit of a danger, I think, in maybe being overconfident at times around Arsenal. We will lose at some stage. We will drop points. It will be about how we respond to that. I was about to say you can't win you can't not lose every game, but we are the only team that have managed to, of course, do that. But in this day and age, going unbeaten would be rather ridiculous, especially for this Arsenal team and this stage of the kind of Premier League state as is. So we are most likely going to drop points. It will be about where and when and how we react when it eventually does happen. Jared, thank you so much for your time, mate. Really appreciate it as always. Tell people they can find you and what you're going to be up to.
Yeah, always a pleasure. Glad to be back. You can find me on Twitter right down there and you can find me with the boys.
It's weird, isn't it? Gotta work out.
It always gets me backwards. Yeah. And then, with the boys on the Gooners pod. We may be on this afternoon, and then we'll probably do an open mic tomorrow after the game as well if anybody wants to come on and talk Arsenal with us.
There you go. Make sure you check out the Gooners Pod. Mike doing some great work, of course, as always, with Gooners versus Cancer. I should mention that there is a live show going down in September. You can find details about that. I'm, at the moment, attending, barring any late issues. But at the moment, I should be there along with Sophie from the Highbury Squad and FK from Latte Firm as well. So if you want to come and see a live show, we're going to be there. It's in North London. I can give you more details after Pablo's told you where you can find him and what he is going to be up to as well.
Okay. So you can find me on Twitter, Palo Mirror 11, I think it is, something like that. And also at a Discord, I'm going to start getting myself more involved in a Discord again. I've had a bit of a break from football as such, and now I'm back. So yeah, that's all you can find me on.
Good stuff. And I will give you the details on that Gooners versus Cancer event just after. Alex, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it. I know that you're not on social media, but you can tell people they can find you.
You can find me at any Bournemouth games, and of course,
congratulations on your new job, by the way. That's brilliant.
Thank you. So if anyone ever comes to watch any under 21s games against Bournemouth, then shout me, and I can't do anything because I'm not.
I love that.
But I'll be there.
No, genuinely, congratulations, mate, on your new job. It's absolutely brilliant news. I know when you shared it in the Discord server, you got a lot of love for it. So, brilliant stuff. Great to see our members making waves.
Yeah, come on the Discord server,
Cherries.
Everyone, and also, come visit the stadium. Come see the beaches. Anyway. I'll let everyone go because
it's going to be interesting when we play Bournemouth. We'll have to get you on the preview, Alex. You know, it's going to be a conflict of interest there.
I've actually got I managed to get free tickets.
Very nice
to watch. I'll be watching it in the home end, so I'll just have to be quiet.
You have to sit on your hands, mate. You're gonna have to sit on your hands. Unbelievable. Anyway, let's shout out at that live event from Gooners versus Cancer. You can find it. We will be. In fact, I might as well just go on the website because it's so much easier if I do it that way. You can find it at the. Why is he not making? This is the problem with Mike. He makes nothing easy to find.
I can give you a little assist.
Yes, do it, Jared. You're the Gooners Pod man. Do it for me.
All right. So it's going to be Friday, September 2nd at the Ridley Road Social Club. And you can just follow the socials for times and updates on the guest, other than Tom and Sophie and FK.
There you go. There we go. I found it. Okay, lovely stuff. If you want to see a live show, all the information is there. Just go to www.eventbrite.com/e/Gooners v Cancer and Friends live tickets. Go and check it out. I'll be there, fingers crossed, along with Sophie and FK and Mike and many more still to be announced at the Ridley Road Social Club. So there you go. 2nd of September, 6:30 to 9:30. Tickets are £21. All of that, I believe, will be going towards Gooners versus Cancer and the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. So do indeed help us out. And again, thank you to my brilliant panel for coming on the show. Really appreciate it. Jared, Pablo, and Alex. Make sure you give them some love in the chat box. Follow their socials. Unless you're Alex and don't like social media, fair play to them. You can find them in our Discord server. If you would like to jump onto our preview shows like these brilliant boys have, go to the link in the description, and there you will, of course, find more information about that. Also, go to the description for our sponsor. Of course, we are now sponsored for the next 4 weeks by Football Prizes. The latest prize up for grabs is that brilliant signed Gabriel Jesus shirt, which, of course, you'll be able to get involved with. But tickets are going very, very quickly, so don't make sure you miss out on those. We'll see you again very, very soon. And as always, up the Arsenal.